Hey guys, Dr. David Jockers here, and today we're talking about how to heal adrenal fatigue naturally. And so in this video, I'm gonna go through the most common symptoms associated with adrenal fatigue. We're gonna talk about the top 3 causes of adrenal fatigue. We're also gonna go through 7 strategies to start applying immediately to address adrenal fatigue and to heal naturally. And so the most common symptoms that we see with adrenal fatigue are just fatigue in general, right? So you're tired. You're tired when you wake up, you're tired throughout the day, you need a nap every single day. And then at night, oftentimes, even though you're exhausted, you're what we call wired, right? So we call wired and tired, meaning that you can't fall asleep at night. These are clear signs of adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue can also manifest in things like autoimmune disease. If you have an autoimmune disease, oftentimes you're just dragging throughout the day. You've got chronic pain, you've got chronic inflammation in your body. This is telltale with adrenal fatigue. In fact, if you have chronically elevated antibodies, right, whether it's to your thyroid or to other tissues of your body, you're gonna end up having adrenal fatigue because those two go hand in hand. When your immune system goes up, adrenal fatigue goes, or your adrenal hormones go up. So that's a serious issue. Same thing with diabetes. If you're diabetic, you're gonna be dealing with adrenal fatigue as well. So serious issue there. Other issues with adrenal fatigue can often result in things like weight loss resistance, where you've tried dieting, you've tried exercise, and you just can't seem to lose weight, right? Maybe you go out and you try to exercise on a regular basis and you just crash. Maybe halfway through your workout, you need long naps every single day, you're exhausted, you sleep 10 hours and you still are exhausted. These are all classic signs of adrenal fatigue. So how do we address, well really here's what we're gonna look at. What are the top 3 causes of adrenal fatigue, right? Well, number 1, right, is going to be leaky gut, right? And what that means is that in our intestines, there is one cell wall layer, right, between what's going on, the food particles and the bacteria and everything that's going on in the intestines, and then what's happening in the bloodstream. And it's like a cheesecloth, meaning that there's little small holes in that intestinal layer. And those small holes are important because they allow for food particles to get across into the bloodstream so we can absorb them, key nutrients, things like zinc and iron and B12 and things like that we need, protein, right? All these things that we need in order to produce energy, in order to create enzymes, in order to create immunoglobulins and everything else in our body. Now here's what happens, so we have inflammation or we're under a lot of stress, things like that, it ends up ripping those cheesecloths. Now we got these large holes in the gut. Now those large holes will allow for things like bacteria and yeast and toxins from bacteria, something like LPS, lipopolysaccharides, and toxins that yeast secrete, different types of alcohols that are inflammatory, like yeast, for example, secretes formaldehyde, which is very, very toxic for our system. So when that happens, now we get inflammation. So our immune system gets activated. It sees protein molecules, things like gluten or things like casein. You may have heard of like a casein sensitivity, which is a protein in dairy. And so now the immune system reacts to that, creates antibodies to it, creates food sensitivities and reactions, and overall inflammatory damage. The immune system can't control itself. It's like a bunch of police officers running around with blindfolds, just shooting at everything that moves, because they can't see. And so they've got bad coordination. We've got to get the immune system back under control. That's one of the first keys to healing leaky gut that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. So leaky gut syndrome, number 1 cause of adrenal fatigue. Number 2 is high emotional stress, right? And I think most of us have been there before. We've had mental emotional stress, pressure at work, challenges in relationships, we've had financial crisis, we've had health problems that obviously cause emotional and mental stress and suffering. And clearly when that's out of control, that can obviously cause a lot of issues with our health and with adrenal fatigue. So we've got to get that under control. We'll talk about some strategies for that. And then last but not least, blood sugar issues. So when we're eating a diet that is very high in carbohydrates, low in good fat, and low in good protein, we end up causing chronic stress in our body. And that's a really big problem. So we've got to get our blood sugar under control. So how do we do this? What are these 7 strategies that you can begin applying today to heal from adrenal fatigue? Number 1 is change your diet, anti-inflammatory diet. So we want to take out the sugars, the carbs, the common food irritants, things like gluten, pasteurized dairy, definitely want to take that out. We want to take out, a lot of all the processed foods and and you know, the boxed foods that are out there that have tons of additives and preservatives. We want to get these things out. We want to go as organic as possible, grass-fed meat sources, lots of good fats like avocados and coconut oil and coconut butter and coconut flakes and all the good coconut stuff, coconut milk. We want things like grass-fed butter. You know, we talked about getting pasteurized dairy out, but using things like grass-fed butter or ghee, which is a clarified butter, can be amazing. Really good source of fat, really good source of fat-soluble antioxidants like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. These are all really, really key. K2 that's in the butter. All these things really key for reducing inflammation in our system, helping heal our gut. So that can be really, really good for our body. We want to make sure we get a lot of vegetables, right? Real plant rich, so lots of good high quality vegetables in our diet. So that way we're getting tons of antioxidants to reduce inflammatory stress and improve the immune system. So that's where we start. Good high quality diet, okay? First thing, okay? And really actually, you know, second thing, okay? This should really go back to just our overall daily habits and just taking long, deep breaths, okay? So we wanna make sure we're breathing long and deep throughout the day. In fact, you know, if I just stop and I take 3 long, deep breaths, okay? Long, like in a sense, like a 10-second inhalation, 10-second exhalation. If I do that, okay, that is immediately gonna shut down a stress response in my body. It's powerful. It stimulates what we call vagal tone, the vagus nerve, which helps stimulate my digestive system, it's like a brake for the heart and the blood pressure, very, very powerful. So long, deep breaths, right? Taking a minute, 2 to, you know, maybe 3, 4, 5 times a day. At least try to do it twice a day and just do 3 long, deep breaths in that minute. Inhale in till you can't anymore. Exhale out till you can't anymore, and then go right back into that, right? And so do something along those lines. You'll see very, very powerful changes in your energy levels, your mental outlook, your clarity. Breathing exercises can be extremely powerful for your body, so I'd highly recommend that. We also need to look at our sleep habits, right? So, you know, if you're going to bed really late, right, or you're doing caffeine and stimulants in the evening and at night, okay, that's gonna cause problems with your sleep. You wanna make sure you go to bed at an early hour, right? Ideally, you know, certainly before midnight. Ideally, the earlier the better. So, you know, if you're dealing with adrenal fatigue, definitely no later than 10. And I would recommend turning off all your electronics, your TV, cell phone, all that kind of stuff by 9 p.m. at the latest, right? Turn it all off. Prepare a nice bath, right? An Epsom salt bath, which is rich in magnesium. We're gonna talk about magnesium. Prepare a nice Epsom salt bath. Go ahead, put some essential oils like lavender essential oil in there. It can be really, really powerful for your body. Really good chamomile essential oil is another good one to help you relax. You can do a little dry brushing, dim the lights, put on some light music, worship music or classical music, something that's real relaxing, and just relax and breathe, right? And do that for 30 minutes or so, then go through kind of your process of getting ready for bed. Go to sleep early, right? You'll see significant changes when you do that on a regular basis. Keep your room as dark as possible. I wear an eye mask to block out any transient light so I can get deep melatonin secretions. That really, really helps when it comes to getting good high quality sleep. That's so important for restoring your body and healing adrenal fatigue. So good sleeping habits. Also a lot of research out there about just walking in general for adrenal fatigue. So we know that high intensity exercise, right? Doing a lot of weight training or sprints, really bad for your adrenals if they're already fatigued. If they're not fatigued, then it's amazing for you. If you're suffering with adrenal fatigue though, you don't wanna do that, but you do wanna go out and walk, right? So you can actually combine a number of health strategies. You can go out, you can walk, right? And ideally, and the next thing I was gonna talk about was grounding, where we actually get bare feet on grass, dirt, sand, even cement. Like I'll walk around my neighborhood, my wife and I, just barefoot, and we're actually absorbing, even through the concrete, we're absorbing healthy electromagnetic frequencies. You know, we're always around, you know, radio waves, cell phone waves. We've got all these electromagnetic frequencies that humankind has never adapted to. And we're one of the first generations to really deal with this on a regular, ongoing basis. And it's a stress on our body. So when we connect back to the earth, our body, our genetic makeup it knows the electromagnetic frequency of the earth. It knows that, and it's very healing and rejuvenating for us. So we connect back to the earth. Try to do this as often as you possibly can. Get your bare feet on grass, dirt, or sand. Lay in the grass, lay on the sand, go to a beach somewhere. I mean, do things like that. Go on vacation, right? Take a week, Go on the beach, walk down the beach every day, go in the ocean. I mean, these are great ways to get healthy EMFs, healthy electromagnetic frequencies that reduce the stress response in your body. But you can even do it in your backyard. You go out in your backyard and you stand there and you do your deep breathing, right? Or you go out and you take a walk, which we know walking is helpful for your adrenals, just taking a light, easy walk and doing a lot of deep breathing with it. Now you combine all these strategies and you're gonna get results, okay? And that's gonna be profound. And I know you guys are wondering, hey, what are the best foods and supplements? Well, you know, we talked about a lot of foods. Key supplements I use to help people from a functional nutrition, functional medicine approach, things like magnesium. We do high amounts of magnesium when I have somebody with adrenal fatigue. We also use a lot of B vitamins, particularly B5, pantothenic acid, and B6, pyridoxine. We want to get premethylated forms. Like with B6, it's P5P, right? Pyridoxal 5, pyridoxal. And so these kind of forms are premethylated. They're easy absorption and easy utilization. And B5 is critical for boosting up things like cortisol, which we need in sufficient quantities. So we need those. We need B12, right? A lot of people are deficient. People with adrenal fatigue deficient in B12 because they have leaky gut, right? And so we want to address the B12 levels, methylfolate, riboflavin. So that's B2, folate is B9. So we gotta get those B vitamins in. So we can do it through foods like pumpkin seeds. Sprouted pumpkin seeds are an amazing source. Green vegetables, amazing source. Healthy, high quality animal products, good source of B12, but also supplementation there can be powerful. Vitamin C, right? Particularly with bioflavonoids. So doing things like lemon water, that can be really profound. And also supplementing with higher doses of vitamin C in combination with bioflavonoids. That is a profound combination for reducing oxidative stress and enhancing adrenal function. So we like that. And also adaptogenic herbs, things like rhodiola, right? Rhodiola helps boost up some stress hormone, helps balance and stabilize it. And so rhodiola, fantastic for the body. Ashwagandha, another really, really good one. You got things like holy basil, also called Tulsi, right? Really profound. These things are intelligent. They actually help to see if your adrenals are really high, they're gonna modulate them and balance them and bring them down. If your adrenal function is low, they're gonna help boost it and bring it up. So they have intelligence within them. You think about like rhodiola, it grows in Siberia, so it's faced extreme heat and extreme cold, and it's developed these compounds called terpenes, which allow it to adapt to the extreme environmental changes. And the ability for it to have that metabolic flexibility and that adaptive potential translates into us when we consume it. So now we get the adaptive potential to better handle daily stress. So we love to use adaptogenic herbs. You know, these are key compounds that really help with people with adrenal fatigue. I also like to work with glutathione boosting agents like N-acetylcysteine, alpha-lipoic acid, acetylated glutathione. They can be really helpful for people with adrenal fatigue. And then last but not least, we talked about a lot of things so far. We talked about breathing habits. We talked about anti-inflammatory diet. We talked about supplements. We talked about walking. We talked about good sleep. We talked about grounding. Last thing is really having an active prayer life. Right? And I think that's probably the most important thing for reducing mental emotional stressors and getting us on target with our life. You know, I believe that God, you know, He created us with this amazing potential, but we need to be communicating with Him on a regular basis. And that will help us open our eyes and open our ears to really hearing the messages that He wants. You know, there's so many people out there that are just not happy, not satisfied with their lives. Having a regular practice of gratitude and prayer can make all the world a difference. So you have an amazing Creator. He loves you. You got to speak to Him on a regular basis. Be thankful for everything He gave you, even the challenges you're under, because there's a blessing on the back end. As you move through those, you become a stronger, more resilient person. God's there with you to walk you through it. Start speaking to Him on a regular basis. Follow the other strategies we talked about, and I believe you'll heal from adrenal fatigue.